Now let me wrap this up. November 2, 1 week from today, is a very crucial day. If all 80 million evangelicals, 18 and older, go to the polls, everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. USA Today, did you read it back in June? They did a poll. In 2000, 70% of all Americans who attend church once a week or more, any church, voted for George Bush. 70% who never attend church voted for Al Gore. That number, that percentage ratio is much higher in 2004. I'm going to predict 80% of all American church members who attend church once a week or more will be voting for George W. this time. And that ought to tell you we're talking about light and darkness here. We're talking about light and darkness here. Now, I know this is a pastor's meeting, but some of you have come in here expecting to have somebody talking about something else. But if ever we need to talk about this, it is at this crucial hour. And I'm not running for anything, so I don't care what you think about it. And with the expected voter fraud, we need a landslide to guarantee a victory for righteousness. We need to get out there, and as Christians who are light of the world, salt of the earth, we need to do it. Now, I ask the question again that little David asked a long time ago, is there not a cause? Is America worth saving? That's what I'm asking. We are winning. You say, well, where do you get that idea that we are winning? You know, there's 650,000 churches in America. 225,000 are evangelical churches, like this one, different sizes, where the Bible's preached, Christ is believed as the only way to heaven, souls are led to Christ, mentored, and so forth. 225,000. There are 80 million of us in head count. And we're not all Baptists or Pentecostals and so forth. And then if you take on top of that and add the Mormons, who on the social issues agree with us, and add conservative Catholics and Orthodox Jews, we have the numbers. People of faith in this country have the numbers to bring this nation back to God. But we can't be tiptoeing through the tulips, and we can't be worried about having a few blessed subtractions. We have got to stand up and say what needs to be said, and say it fearlessly, and say it every day. And on November 3, I agree with what Sean Hannity said the other night. Sean Hannity said on November 3, the day after Election Day, we've got to start the campaign to prevent Hillary from becoming our next president. That we just have to think that way. We've got to think about, we don't care. I live for the day when the Democrats and Republicans will both offer candidates who believe the Bible and who believe in the sanctity of life and all the issues that are dear to us. And then all we have to do is select the best leader. But right now, it's what I said a moment ago, it's light and darkness. Light and darkness. And if you don't get it, I mean, if you're putting party affiliation, if you're putting grandma's party affiliation, if you're putting what always has been a tradition ahead of your belief as a Christian, you're wrong. I'm a Christian first. I live that way, and I vote that way, and I work that way, and I do business that way, and so should you. And so I close with this. I want you to get this in your psyche, preachers. This is a preacher's meeting. I'm glad the rest of you who are here are listening too, because I want you to support your preacher when he says it. But our mission in the 21st century is to get people saved, baptized, discipled. We're the light of the world. Register to vote, informed on the issues, and out to the polls. We've got to see to it that 100% of all who name the name of Christ render to God that which is God's, and secondly, to Caesar, to government, to America, that which is Caesar's. Now, what I'm saying to you has got some of you pondering, does that really belong in the pulpit? Well, if it doesn't, what does? If this country loses her freedoms, if we legalize, like Sodom and Gomorrah, same-sex marriage, then comes polygamy, then comes group marriage. I mean, you can't let a man marry a man, a woman, without letting every other critter marry that wants to. You can't do it. And you can't have your cake and eat it too. And if we keep on killing little babies, we don't deserve to survive. And if we don't stand up against the terrorists, you may have seen me on Wolf Blitzer Sunday with Jesse Jackson. And Jesse and I have known each other for years. I said, Jesse, You're a preacher of the gospel, just like I am. And I've got here on my table, I was doing it from my studio. I just preached on Sunday morning, Thomas Road, and going, I've got on my table here a printed copy of a sermon you preached 35 years ago. Pro-life. You said that abortion was genocide against African Americans. It was a pro-life sermon like I've never heard. Then you got mixed up with those Democrats, and they corrupted your theology. And he said, well, I've just expanded it. I said, no, you haven't expanded it. You've changed it for political reasons, and that is dishonorable. And he sputtered a little bit, and I said, I'll tell you something now. I don't care who likes what I say. I say it in love, but the fact is that life begins when the egg is fertilized. Conception, that's where it all begins, right there. And if that's true, how can you claim to be a Christian and take the Bible seriously and vote for these pro-choice, pro-same-sex marriage, pro-embryonic stem cell research candidates like you are promoting? And there you are down in Florida. He was in Florida trying to get votes out for people who don't believe anything that you took in your ordination pledge a commitment to support. You're on the other side now. You've joined the enemy. And of course, he gets all spitting and sputtering, but the fact is that that's who we are. And if the church doesn't call the nation to repentance, who is going to do it? When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. People vote Christian, not Republican, not Democrat. I hope one day both the candidates for both the parties are men and women of God, so we can just make a choice on the best leader. But until then, we have to play the hand that's dealt us. And that's where we are. And by the grace of God, you know, the Americans United frighten our preachers. They write them letters about this time of year. They've been writing for a month or two. That if you say anything or put out voter guides or do anything, you're going to lose your tax-exempt status. That is an outright lie, pastors. In the history of America, not one church, not one, has ever lost its tax-exempt status for political lobbying or for endorsing or opposing candidates. Now, you don't have to name the candidate. If you teach your people right and get them registered and get them to the polls, let them, don't offend anybody, just let them vote their conscience. If you've taught them right and they got an IQ, you know, beyond 30, they'll know how to vote. They'll know how to vote. So we don't have to break any laws. Let Mr. Kerry do that. They're in different churches every Sunday and getting everybody to, you know, vote for me. That's illegal. We don't break the law. But we need to walk right to the edge and do what's noble, because our children and children's children will one day either stand up and bless us or curse us for our courage or our lack of the same. God help us to see that our children and children's children grow up in the same blessed America that we have known and enjoyed. All I want to say to you is America's on the rebound. And by the grace of God, let's keep Satan on the run. Let's bow together for prayer.